dementia unit staff often say, oh, the dementia residents, they just don't understand. And often it's because the staff themselves are too busy, they don't ask the dementia residents questions, or they don't think it through. And also because of the misunderstanding that memory means understanding, when in fact, just because you can't remember, it doesn't mean that you can't understand. Memory and understanding are two completely different faculties. But I did find that those staff members that were receptive would change their perspective. One staff member, she took a workshop actually with the residents on the Beatles. And before she started the workshop, she was also of the opinion that the dementia residents couldn't understand. But after their opinions on the Beatles, she came to me and said, they do understand. And I didn't realise that until I'd taken this workshop, because they were tapping into past memory. And the 60s is a really big thing for dementia residents, with the Beatles and non-violence and civil rights and all the changes that happened. So they were easily able to speak about the Beatles with her. But in her caring day-to-day work, she hadn't tapped into past memory with the dementia residents, so didn't realise that they could tap into past memory and indeed understand as they were communicating. Now, in contrast, there was another carer, a very experienced carer, who was very kind to her residents, really went out of her way to make sure that they were comfortable and settled. And one of her dementia resident patients used to say to her, oh, today I've got a fuzzy brain, fuzzy mind, which meant that she was really stressed out, thoughts were spinning, and she was feeling ill and unwell. So she was able to communicate that information to the carer, and the carer used to just give her half an hour so she could settle and unwind and come back and do the cares. So this is how the carer, realising that this dementia resident did understand and that she could communicate to her, that her mind was spinning and her brain was out of sorts, so that she needed some time before the cares, was very important, because if the carer pushed through, ignored what the dementia resident was saying, did the shower anyway, what happened is that resident used to get really upset, uptight and aggressive, and it was a total, chaos having a shower. Whereas letting the dementia resident have that half hour or 20 minutes to relax, unwind, be prepared, then they would go in and have the shower, and it would be a calmer experience. So it is so important to be able to take what the dementia resident is saying to you with respect and with value, because the thing is that someone won't be communicating with you unless they understand. Understanding is linked with communication. So if a dementia resident is communicating something to you, it means that they're understanding what they're saying, and it's important to take that with the value with which it's given. I mean, of course, sometimes, words are jumbled. Sometimes the grammar's not right. Sometimes past tense, the tenses aren't correct, because direction, orientation and timelines sometimes get confused. All of that happens. But it just means all you need to do is just to sit down with the person and just work it through, talk it through. And if what they're saying isn't making sense to you, just say, look, Mum, I'm not quite getting it, but do you mean this or do you mean that? And she will direct you. She'll say, well, yes or no or something else, and just work with it until you get what it is that she's trying to say to you. And actually, once that happens, that once you get what the person is trying to say to you, you'll find then they'll relax. And when they relax, then the rest of their speech will be a lot more coherent. So that's why it's important when you visit dementia residents, your mother, say, to not be rushed. No, don't be rushed. Plenty of time, Mum. I've got plenty of time. We'll go through this. We'll work it through. I want to understand. And show an interest in her and in the fact of you wanting to understand what it is she's saying. She needs to know that. Trust will come from that. Whereas in contrast, if you're busy, you're stressed, look, Mum, I've only got 10 minutes, you know, she's not going to be able to say anything of value in that time. She'll be too uptight and stressed, thinking, oh, they're only staying a few minutes. They won't get what I'm saying. Oh, my words, I'm stressed. My words are jumbled. But if you can sit quietly in the sunshine and you know that you've got the time and time's being taken and everything's relaxed and calm, then, you know, you've got time to get your thoughts together, slow down your speech, say what you want to say, be understood, and in that way then things can move forward. It could be a comfortable arrangement. So time, patience and understanding are the key things, but also realising that dementia residents do understand, just sometimes they can't communicate it in the way that maybe they would like, but being able to work with them, you'll be able to work it out. So I've written about all these themes in detail in the two books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit, both on Amazon and my website, pietavalentine.com. Now, these books are about the dementia residents' experiences and their challenges, what they've been through and how they've managed to come through it. And more importantly, they've explained to me at length and generously what it is that they need, the resources they need to be able to live in a dementia unit, often not realised by relatives. So I've written about this in the epilogues of both books, what is important for dementia residents to be able to have a quality of life in a unit, you know, for their time. So thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for your likes, and please pass on these links. Thank you.